she's really good at taking care of all that.
Call the meeting to order. Everyone stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I guess I'll do the roll call.
You don't get to guess and be.
Tom Bender. Danielle Hoover here. Kevin Krug. I'll call him later. Norma Krug.
Here.
Carol Lieb here. Tom Rocco. Mike Basil.
Here.
Bob Wester. Jennifer Zinshaw. Here. Ellen Johnson's here.
Yep, here.
And then Toby's here.
Here.
Roland, you're here?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we have anybody signed?
Hello?
Diane Waxman. Okay, Diane. You're.
I'm Diane Waxman. I'm from 622 Municipal Road, Northern Cambria. I'm here to bring you up to date on the get-together I'm trying to get together. It's very difficult over the summer with the director of the Johnstown VOTAC and the director of the Admiral Perry VOTAC and myself and a couple board members who showed interest in discussing getting Arium started at the Admiral Perry VOTAC. Now, it's in the works. The gentleman from Johnstown, his name is John Augustine, he's been in contact with the Admiral Perry, but they couldn't come up with a date. I said, I'll do, I'm very flexible, get a date between you and, then if anyone who's expressed an interest, I'll let the superintendent know, but, we'll just go with when they can get together because it is summertime. When I think of the school, I think of kids. And when I first started coming to these meetings, Dr. Fasonic always had the kids here and she gave them certificates and their family came. And everybody clapped, and I thought that was wonderful. I noticed that we do not, in the last couple board meetings that I've been to, that the administration is not here. So we went from having all of that civic input, the kids, their parents were all at the meetings, and at least the administrators were here before. Now I'm hoping they're just getting a reprieve for summer, and that's just a temporary thing because I would really like we have kids leaving Friday to go to TSA. If they would, God willing, they would come in nationals, it would be so wonderful to have them here because that is what we're about. We're here for the kids. And I would hope that, the superintendent and the administration would be allowed to have the public know so the paper can cover it more. There's nothing wrong with getting 2 pats on the back. I told, it's on Facebook, and I told the folks, you're already champs, because you're state champs. But that's not the same as coming to a meeting and having folks sitting like this say, wow guys, that's really a good deal. So I would hope this is temporary. Come fall, we have our administrators back and maybe the kids. The other thing I noticed in the agenda just now, that we have the moving thing in the agenda again, getting a moving company. I know how long I waited to get a new stove. If you don't get on the books to get your money down and to get the order in, you don't get your stove in a timely fashion. I would hope that there's not an ulterior reason why that's not happening, because school's gonna happen. The buses are gonna arrive, the kids are gonna get out, and I would hope we're ready. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane.
Sure.
Okay, superintendent's report.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. First of all, I want to thank the board for allowing me to attend the funding press event yesterday in Harrisburg. thought it was a good success. It was again sponsored by the Pennsylvania Association of Rural and Small Schools, along with Education Voters of Pennsylvania, and a number of other agencies that we work with. And we were successful in seeing a number of lawmakers. We went down there to support House Bill 1500, which puts limits on cyber charter tuitions and also describes some other charter funding reforms, and also to support the adequacy funding and effort that was part of this year's budget and now will also hopefully be part of next year's budget. And we again got to speak to some politicians and make some statements that were picked up by press agencies. Some of those I have and I sent out to board members, and we'll try to put a couple of those on the website as well. In the meantime, I'd encourage us to think about reaching out to our senator, Senator Langerholt. The House Bill 1500 is now in the Senate. It passed the House and now it's in the Senate. And if it passes, that would be a great thing for us. And also to remind him to encourage, to support the adequacy funding, because of adequacy funding, effort. Northern Cambria received an additional $331,000 this past year, and we're slated to get up to another $331,000 under the adequacy funding, and that's not something that all school districts get. We got it because of our relative student expenditures relative to the state average, and so I could go through that form. It's very long and involved, but suffice to say, by having been very frugal, we qualified for the adequacy funding, and we're hoping that happens again next year. So once again, I want to thank you for letting me go and attend that on behalf of the district and speak. And as I said, we'll be getting some of the pictures and hopefully some of the video on the website so you can see that. I want to now remind everyone, not just board members, but anyone who may be in the meeting or watching this, that beginning on Thursday, the 26th of June, lasting through Monday, the 30th of June, the entire campus, the new campus, will be without electrical power for those days. It will turn off sometime the afternoon of Thursday, the 26th, and hopefully should come back on the morning of Monday, the 30th. The reason that's happening is it will allow electricians and engineers and the data cabling guys and all the guys with the wires to get all the systems in the new building switched over to the new circuits, the new hardware that they're using, and new distribution frames, et cetera, et cetera. There's quite a lot of work to do there. During this time, there'll be absolutely no power or anything else at this campus. The high school will have electricity, but it will not have any voice, video, or data services. There'll be no phone service, and as far as we know, or at least as we believe, the alarm system won't be working there either. So as a result, we've informally kind of made the decision to close the district. We did put an announcement to that effect on the website that the building will be closed on the 27th, which will be Friday, and the 30th, which is Monday. Now, we give employees a choice of either working from home, or of course they can use personal leave if they wish to. Again, if everything goes right, we're hoping that it does, everything will be turned back on and come back online Monday morning, and we should be good to go. The only thing I'm concerned about a little bit, and I need to talk to administration about this, but I do want to share the concern with the board, is I don't know what arrangements we've made or what arrangements SiteLogic may have made about site security, but I do think we need to be aware of and perhaps more proactive about having some site security present during that time, because again, this will mean that all weekend, Saturday, Sunday, all 24 hours a day, there will be no electrical service at at that building. So, but that's something I'll pursue with the administration. So, make everyone aware of the power outage. Also on the July 1st and July 2nd, the air conditioner systems across the new building will be shut down while the HVAC engineers work to fine tune the balance and loading parameters that they have for that building. That all has to be done. I know that's a difficult process. They've got to calculate how many pounds of air need to be pushed into individual sections of the building every hour. So the air conditioner will be offline on those days. The building will be open. Employees will be asked to report. The high school will not be affected by this outage, so staff will still report. We're gonna try to be flexible there too. If the heat continues like it is right now, we'll try to offer up employees an opportunity to work maybe at the high school where there is still gonna be, hopefully, should still be air conditioning, or at least allow for a more liberal break policy and make sure we have cold water and things like that available for everybody, because I'm, very concerned about the health and well-being of the employees during that time. Moving on, I want to kind of give you a summary. We were visited by John Steigerwald. He is a technician from Effective Controls. He was here last week. He came to look at our dust collector system that we have installed here at the existing building. So he very closely and carefully examined the dust control unit outside our current wood shop, and I was very pleased with what he was able to tell us. According to Mr. Steigerwald, the unit that we have there is in actually relatively pretty good condition for its age. It will require some new filter cartridges, but we entirely expected that. And he just recommended we might want to get it painted as well, but that's kind of cosmetic, of course. He does believe that there's a large 11 horsepower fan motor that will need to be replaced or rebuilt. And he will give us a price on that, although that can be done really there are a number of local shops that are capable of rebuilding electric motors, which is all that really fundamentally is. So we have some options to look locally when we want to pursue that. It'll be less expensive. He's also recommending that there be some new ductwork installed inside the building so that we can connect up the various instruments that will need to be connected to the dust collector. But overall, the unit, again, was in very good condition for its age. Hadn't been run for a while, but when power was hooked up to it, it started sucking up dust and things right there on the spot for us. So it is in good shape. So he's going to prepare and he's going to prepare an estimate for us that he'll forward, or a proposal, I guess I should call it, for doing all this work at with the dust collector there. And of course, we can select his company, or we can look at somebody else if we want to, but he'll give us a pretty good idea of what we're looking to spend. I don't have that yet that I can share with you, but I'm hoping it comes shortly. But again, the good news was the unit overall, he does not feel it would make any sense to replace it. It seems to be working fine. It just needs these upgrades with the filters and the motor and so forth. So we're very excited to have that news that our systems are in good shape. Also, I want to wish good luck to the students in the TSA club. They were statewide champions, as was mentioned earlier, and they will be going, I think it's to Tennessee next week to participate in nationals. Sorry I don't have their names, but we will get all that on the website too. Wish them great luck. We're very proud of that. I've only got to meet them a couple of times, and I'm really impressed with that club, and wish them the best of luck in Tennessee. And we want to congratulate the students who were named to the District 6. We had several young men who were named to the District 6, All-Star baseball team. And we had a number of boys, young men, I should call them young men, who played in the Ken Lancey game. We're very proud of all of them. And again, I got the information about that, but I don't have all the names, so I want to make sure I didn't get that wrong. We'll put that on the website, because I do think they need to be recognized for that. So again, our good luck to our TSA club members, and congratulations to our District 6 baseball players and our Ken Lancey players. And that's my report, Mr. Dr. Krug. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to continue as president?
Can I ask a-
Sure.
Go ahead, yeah, no, it's your show.
Mr. Johnson, I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
With the dust collector system, with everything that he said, we're okay to start then in the fall with that system, the unit the way that it is?
I mean, as long as we get those filter cartridges replaced, that's the big thing. The motor just makes a lot of noise. I mean, it's still working, but it's just very
But
noisy.
it's good to go.
But if we do that and install the appropriate ductwork to the machines, it's ready to go.
Okay. Might I recommend, if you contact Mr. Joe Luther at the VOTEC, maybe our VOTEC students, if the small engine would be able to
I-
run our motor.
Excellent idea. I didn't think to ask them, but I'll check with them.
It'd be a good learning experience and
Yeah.
cost effective for us.
Absolutely, I'll make a note for that and see if they do that kind of work.
Yeah.
Just a simple rebuilding of the AC motor, that should be something that they get experience on.
Like it. Good, okay. Business manager.
Treasurer's report for the month of May, beginning cash balance was $408,725. Our total local sources of revenue were $166,214. Our total federal and state sources of funds were $2,975,742. And total miscellaneous, which includes a $750,000 transfer from Pliget, were $754,256, for total receipts of $3,896,212. Our expenditures and transfers out totaled $1,264,360, which leaves us with an ending cash balance at May 31st of $3,040,577. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, be resolved, minutes of the May 6, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting and the 20th of May 2025 regular meeting are approved as presented. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Mike Basil. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Does she have something here? All right, be resolved, the treasurer and financial reports for the May 20, 2025 be approved as presented, received, and filed. I'll make the motion for that.
Second.
Treasurer doing that? No, don't matter.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, Mike. Any questions or comments on there? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, you can see the enrollment report in front of you. So we'll go to Billings and Crowns, Site Logic. Nobody here?
Nobody's here.
Ain't worried about it. Hi, Dennis. How you doing? Okay, we're gonna move item B to after the executive session. There's a few things we have to discuss, and I imagine we will be voting on that when we come out? Yes. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do with that. So we'll move that to the end. Cafeteria equipment, be resolved, the Board of Education approve the purchase of gas combi oven and sanitary kettle for Altel Artley, from Altel Artley through the KPN Purchasing Network. The cost of the district will be $82,706. Danielle had her hand up first, so I'll do that. You can be second, Carol. Okay, any questions or comments on that, guys?
Did we ever get clarification, Kevin?
The
on that?
last meeting, yeah, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
The last meeting, I had asked, that I thought we had approved this already. We approved to put it out for bid, I believe.
Put out for bid.
Okay, yeah. And I guess it took that long to get that, so. And I also asked if this was part of like a CoStar's pricing thing, that we didn't have to have a sealed bid for this.
It is, yeah, it's part of the Keystone Purchasing Network.
Okay, good enough. Okay? Everybody good? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And the Chromebooks are in front of you, 180 Chromebooks from Trofera through CoStars for the 25-26 school years, and the lowest bid was $48,600 for 180 Chromebooks at $270 apiece. Mrs. Jen Zenshaw, second by Mrs. Daniel Hoover. Questions or comments?
My only question, Chris, is how often, I don't recall how often we buy the Chromebooks, because annually.
So we keep them on a cycle where we do Chromebooks at kindergarten, 5th, and 9th grade. And they keep them through that cycle, and at that point we issue a new one. The reason for that 4-year cycle is, one, to keep them up to date, but also because the battery life expectancies need to be through a whole day. 180 days blows through those batteries, and they just don't hold the charge as well when we get down to the end of it. So we cycle them out on that 4 year.
I see, that makes sense, okay. I'm just trying to understand the number of them, but that makes sense, okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, the computer lab, be it resolved, Board of Education approves the purchase of 26 desktop computers for the BCIT lab for the 25-26 school year from Dell Technologies through PEPPM for $26,866.32 at a cost of $1,033.32 per unit.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Mr. McBasil. Second by Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments on that?
I have questions.
Go ahead.
Okay, first off, with Fred leaving, we don't have a teacher. Second off, what is our class size? Because we're buying 26, do we really need all 26?
Yes.
And
so
why?
This is for the lab that's assigned to Mr. Mark Marino.
Okay,
So we are refreshing that lab, and then we're handing down the computers from the 2 labs up there to out at the other lab. It's more of a shared lab space, where more than one teacher might use it throughout the day. So for Mark Marino's class, he teaches things with advanced video and Photoshop and Adobe products and stuff like that. So we're updating his machines. The machines that you bought previously for the 2 labs at the high school, you bought 7 years ago. And we upgraded them across those years to kind of keep them going, but it's time for them to get replaced. We'll still use those older machines for general purpose computing, but not for that specialty stuff that we need a little bit more oomph on the hood. So as to the number of students, the largest class that he teaches is 25 students. So we give 25 students plus 1, so he's on the same stuff, he sees the same things as the kids see, so we're all on the same page.
okay, so these are all going into one classroom?
Correct.
Okay, and this is coming from our general budget, correct?
Correct, this was budgeted for, yes.
Okay.
Good?
That's all.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves our unemployment compensation bucks through PSBA. The basic plan is $4.50 per employee. Based on the actual employees at time of sign up, should be approximately about $675 annually. Excuse me. Make the motion, Mr. McBasil. Daniel Hoover. Anybody questions or comments on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that? Good. PSBA membership, be resolved, the Board of Education approves the district's annual membership with PSBA for 25-26 school year for the following. The standard membership is $3,863.50, and the policy maintenance is $1,525.00 for a total of $5,388.56. Jen Zenshaw makes that motion. Second, Ms. Daniel Hoover. Any questions or comments on that, guys?
We had this last year, right? Wasn't there
Did
one
I
of those
think it's
years
every
that
year.
didn't make, okay, that's what I thought.
Every year.
It went up a little bit, I think it was closer to just 5,000 last year.
It's almost policies that we have maintained.
Probably.
Everybody good? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good. All right, PSEA Health and Welfare Fund Group Dental. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the PSEA Health and Welfare Fund Group Dental Program, providing benefits for the employees of the Northern Cambria School District beginning July 1st, 25 through June 30th, 26 for 1 year. You can see the amounts there.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Mike Vazel. Mrs. Daniel Hoover was up first for the second one. Any questions or comments?
I have a comment, do we feel the need to abstain,
Yep.
Toby?
Absolutely, I do every year.
Because it won't pass if we do.
I'm abstaining. I could be a direct thing with this.
Right.
Benefit from this, so I can't do it.
Won't be enough votes.
I can't do it.
I maybe can, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I think so, Norm. I'm comfortable with that.
She's not directly benefiting.
Okay, so,
It's not part of our law.
so legally I can vote for this? Oh,
I mean, it's not naming you or a family member, right? Wouldn't it have to be like a direct?
I've been told by the auditors that I should abstain for something like this before.
Yeah, that's fine.
and I live in the same house, so,
From
but I
before.
don't want them to be at fault.
But the contract's not with, I mean, again,
Right, it's
I
not
can
with
see
him,
both
it's
positions,
only
but I'm
if
just
he
saying the
is-
contract isn't, it's not like we're doing a contract with,
people are his
with his
patients.
practice per
Yep.
se.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable if Dr. Krug abstains and Norma votes on this.
Or could we hold this to next meeting, does this have to be done
I
tonight?
don't
I
think,
don't know the answer to that.
How urgent is it?
Roland, you know if this needs to be
They
done?
need it done, it needs to be done.
I
before
thought so.
July.
I thought it did.
Members have excuses.
don't
I would
think
take your
that's the way-
sister's advice.
But it expires the end of the month.
I mean, if Toby says it's fine, then if something happens, then we'll hold him accountable.
Okay.
Okay, roll call. Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
I'm abstaining Mrs. Crowe,
Yes.
Mrs. Lee,
Yes.
Rocco's absent, Mr. Basil,
Yes.
Mr. Wester's absent, Ms. Jensel,
Yes.
and Mr. Bender's absent, so it's gonna be 5-0 with me abstaining. Okay, insurance renewal. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves the insurance package renewal from quote of Emmitsburg. You can read all the stuff on there. This is basically for liability, I believe. Is that right?
It's everything.
Everything?
Yes.
Okay, it's coverage for everything, okay. So you guys can read all that. It'll be on the agenda pack.
I make the motion.
Mrs. Carol Lieb made the motion, and Mrs. Jen Zenshaw seconded it. I saw she beat you. Okay? Any questions or comments on any of that stuff, guys?
I only have one really general question, but just for the high school, like, is that property coverage in this, is this part of this policies that the Evansburg insurance? Like, do we plan on keeping, if it's an unoccupied building?
It's still have to be insured, your premium may change a little bit, and I guess there's.
That's something we
a
can
chance.
review once we get to that point then. Okay. That's it?
Good?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Health Consortium, Healthcare Consortium renewal for 25-26. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves the renewal of healthcare benefits through the Admiral Perry Consortium for the 25-26 school year, which reflects a 7% increase. And Mrs. Jen makes that one.
Oh, second.
Second by Mr. Mike Basil. Okay, any questions or comments on this, guys? Nice and healthy increase there. All I can say about this one, this is just a comment, is that we're gonna have to definitely look at that cost when contract negotiations come up. That is a very big pill to swallow for a district, okay? And it's gonna go up from there, I'm sure.
Is this typical across, the other?
I think this is for all the school districts in the Admiral Perry Consortium, so.
Okay.
We've been pretty flat though, right, Roland, for overall for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
kind of, I think?
Well, we had,
Somewhat, one little increase.
5% last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was
Before that, it was like
last year.
flat or something?
We had an increase as well at IEP, so Paschy also saw this increase.
Yeah, so did Penn State, it's just going.
The
Yeah.
insurance is,
It's a shame.
from what we've been told, this is still the more affordable.
Oh, yeah, it is,
Yeah.
but still, when you negotiate your contracts, that's gonna have to do with that.
It's definitely getting more expensive. no doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Adoption of the final 25-26 general fund budget. Be it resolved, the Board of Education adopts the 25-26 general fund budget with an estimated beginning fund balance on July 1st, 2025 of $3,500,000. Total anticipated revenues are $21,683,565, and the anticipated disbursements total the same number. This would leave an ending fund balance of $3,500,000 in the general fund. You can read the small print. Basically, it reflects no real estate tax increase for the upcoming year. All right? Everything else pretty much is what we've been doing forever since I remember. Okay? So, Mrs. Danielle Hoover will make that motion. And Mrs. Carol Lee will second it. Questions or comments?
I do have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Do these numbers include the anticipated monies that, Mr.
The
Johnson?
advocacy, yeah.
The advocacy money, and is that,
You included the budget as it's been sent to us, and there is always the possibility that could change somewhat. But it could also get offset, there could be an increase somewhere else. I mean, there's like so many different block
Okay.
programs in that. We don't really have a choice as school districts. We have to go with what they give us, even though they never have the budget approved by the state on their June 30th like they're supposed to, because we just have to have something, so. But in my experience, it's never been so different that you couldn't absorb a change, so.
okay, thank you.
If this gets passed tonight, when does this get filed?
It's already been filed.
I meant final.
The final's been filed.
Is that possible?
Are you worried about the 30 days?
No, that's been done. That was because we moved the meeting. That was for preliminary.
Don't we have to pass something before, what's the policy with passing the budget or something before June 3rd?
That's tonight.
That's tonight.
this is-
Yeah.
The preliminary we did though before.
That's correct.
Yeah, it
We
has
did the
set for 30
preliminary
days.
before.
We had to go a long period of
Yeah.
advertising, we did that 30 days, that's why the meeting got set back.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anybody opposed? Okay, that's gonna do it. Okay. Adoption of the final capital projects budget, you can read it in front of you. Basically, it's $4,956,000, total anticipated interest is $20,100. The transfers from the general fund of $400,000 will make up the total receipts of $420,100. Anticipated disbursements based on the drawdown schedule will be $5,370,280, which will result in an ending fund balance of June 30th, 2026 of $5,820. Mrs. Jan Zenshaw will make that motion. And Mr. Mike Basil will second it. Any questions or comments on those numbers? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Sapphire, be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the reconfiguration and data restructuring proposal for Sapphire at a cost of $4,000 as per appendix number 3. Mr. Mike Basil makes the motion. Mrs. Danielle Hoover will make that second. Questions or comments?
Yeah.
Is this what you were telling me about before? Okay,
Yeah.
that's actually way better than we thought it was
It
gonna
was
be.
much better than we were expecting,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
happy. It must have liked my smile.
Yeah. Good.
Good job.
I was just gonna, it didn't sound that bad for basically moving the 4 grades around, I guess is what they're saying.
We thought the walls were gonna cave in.
A lot of work they're gonna do.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed to that? Good. CSIU applications, you can read that. Approve the purchase of the selected FIS system applications. And the tentative amount will be $23,681.40 for basically 795 students and because of last year's billing cycle. Okay, everybody got that? You can read the rest for yourselves. Mr. Mike Basil is on a roll tonight with the first
Yep.
one.
Probably good.
And Mrs. Carol Lee will second that one. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Nothing with community relations, it's too hot out for that. Appalachian Youth Service, be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the MOU from Appalachian Youth Service to provide its needs and service for the 25-26 school year. The per diem rate for K through 6 is $111.78 and $103.03 for the grades 7 through 12. Mrs. Jen Zenshaw, Mrs. Norma Krug will second her. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves surrounding summer school program that through Imagine Learning for the 24-25, is that right?
No, that
Should be 25-26 school year, right?
Sorry,
That's
I
okay.
missed that.
No big deal, I caught it. The cost of the district will be $1,728 for 2 teachers, 1 teacher for 12 days at 3 per hour, or 3 per day, 3 hours per day, and the other 6 days at 3 hours per day at $32 per hour. This is pretty standard, I think, isn't it? Yeah. Mrs. Norma Krug will motion that, followed by Mrs. Carol Lee. Anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Resolution number 2025/02, closing the Northern Cambria High School. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the resolution to close the Kennedy Building located at 813 35th Street, Northern Cambria, PA, effective August 15, 2025. The district will be reconfigured so that the grades kindergarten through grade 6 will be considered the elementary school, and the high school will be comprised of students in grade 7 through grade 12. These details are outlined in the full resolution, Appendix 6. Motion by Mrs. Norma Krug. Second by Mrs. Jen Zenshaw. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, my only comment was, I don't know if I still understand, maybe I did miss a meeting in between there. Was this discussed, like, did you sit down with the principals and had a good discussion of planning, or was it just kind of a decision was made? It's not that I'm,
Well, we
I know
certainly-
we're closing it, but
certainly-
we're
I certainly-
reconfiguring.
Yeah, I certainly had several discussions with Lisa and Dr. Tibbet both about this, as well as the deans and other people involved in it. We agreed, I mean, it's really a function of how many administrators we have available. We have 2 administrators, we really need to be 2 programs, otherwise we try to split something between 2, and that's very problematic. this is the cleanest way to do it. It does not mean we change anything about our programs, and indeed, we're not gonna change anything about our how we teach. It's all gonna stay the same. This is really just so we can, the teachers, I mean, the principals have to keep, they're accountable for so many teachers that they have to evaluate and observe, and that has to all go into that PVOS portal. So this is just the simplest, easiest way to break it up, and it's the way that makes the most sense.
Yeah, I wasn't, it's not that I was so much against it, I just felt like, and again, I don't know if I missed some discussion, I felt like this was a pretty big decision, I don't know if I felt like there was a big to-do discussion about it, and again, if those occurred, it's not that I'm saying they didn't, I guess I didn't feel like as a board we really discussed it, and it felt like a pretty big decision eliminating a principal position. So did I miss a meeting here? I missed one meeting, so was it?
I wasn't part of obviously the decision on eliminating the other principal.
Right, but if we're reconfiguring, the grades like that, obviously it kind of means implying we're not gonna have another principal at that point.
Well, since we don't have one
Yeah.
right now, yeah, that's the assumption, that's what the two principals and I talked about, and that was their recommendation, because I was new coming into this and was open to
And they
that.
felt they could absorb that.
They felt that this was the way they had to move, was to do it this way. So that was their.
Okay.
And if I can chime in really quickly, this resolution will be to close the high school and allow your superintendent to start the reconfiguration process. If the board feels differently on how the school should be reconfigured, and Mr. Johnson and the principals come up with something different, there's still time to change that,
To change it.
although I don't know if it should. I'm not-
Logistically, yeah, of course.
This resolution is for closing the high school
Okay,
and allowing Mr. Johnson
Yeah.
to start that process of reconfiguring,
okay,
however that may shake out.
okay.
Which will just like, but we can change it again till the end of July. We have till July 31st, and whatever configuration we have officially on record on July 31st is what we'll go. And again, why that matters? Because every administrator is responsible for a certain number of teachers that are in their building. They have to evaluate, observe them, and someone has to take the responsibility. And now, under the accountability measures, remember that a teacher's observation, a teacher's evaluation has an impact upon their rating as to whether or not they're distinguished, proficient, or, basic, or whatever. I'm sorry, I didn't use the right terminology there, but, and that's just a really difficult process that a principal is responsible for. They really can't split that amongst them, because then that also impacts the building's rating when it comes to the statewide report card that we get and the rating each school gets. So I've probably done a poor job of explaining that to it, but it's really primarily because of the teacher accountability measures that are in place. We have to do it that way.
Okay.
Jen, you were next.
So two statements. One, I just want to chime in on, Toby, thank you for clarifying. The building's just closing for educational purposes. We could still use it as we deem fit, and I just don't want everyone to think that we're just closing it and that's the end. Two, I'm gonna caution you, as I mentioned in an email a while back, we have to tell the parents soon, it's June 24th. If we're changing which students, their times, they need to know soon, because we have to worry about childcare and whenever students get off the bus. Who has to be there? Does someone have to be home? And so I worry about parents and how our students are gonna look.
I think we certainly talked about that. We were kind of in a catch-22 situation, if that's the right word for it, not because it has been a somewhat controversial kind of discussion, and we thought, well, do we want to still say that if it's not formally approved yet?
Right.
And then it doesn't get approved, and now we've already told them. But now that if we move ahead with this, yes, that is the immediate next order of business that we'll talk about tomorrow, is getting notice out to them.
Right, and I support you in the administration if this is the conclusion you've come to that's best for the students in the district, but I just ask, please, let's be diligent and be mindful.
Right, that has to happen next, and believe me, they have been calling me every day, can we move ahead with that? And I said, I
Yes.
think we need to wait until the board gives its imprimatur on this, because if we do that and they change their mind, now we have at least looked at the schedules for all the teachers, and we reduced to an absolute minimum the number of teachers whose schedule will change, because that was a concern that the association had, And I don't wanna give you a number, but I think we got it down to where there's only 2 or 3 positions where there's actually a teacher whose time schedule is changing. It's a very small number.
And they work that out with coaches too, so I know,
Coaches.
Mr. Shooty, for example,
Yeah.
is our football coach and
Yeah.
he's-
We met with Dan, we kinda let Dan be the linker there, because we
Great.
didn't want, there's a lot of coaches, to understand this is how it will work, and he was fine with that, and said he would relay that, and we counted his. I know that Mr. Shooty got it, because he was part of that conversation, so, cause that
Okay.
it's a premier sport, let's face it.
Sure.
So he certainly knows about it, and I believe that all the coaches are aware of it, are comfortable, it's, not happy necessarily, but they're comfortable with it.
Thank you. I know it's hard for us to fill coaching positions, so if our teachers, their times are
Don't
changing
wanna
and
make
right
it
now
harder
they're,
for them.
yes, exactly, so I'd like to,
No, I
work with them.
promise you, and I'll send you an update, I mean, I think at the end of the week, we're gonna have,
Great, that
we're gonna
sounds
have a
great.
discussion before this week is out, because we all agreed this was something that we've been chomping at the bit to get going with, and now if we get that, we will, it is the next step.
okay, thank you.
I wanna make sure that we communicate with our families that the 7th and 8th graders are not gonna be, they are administratively high school, but they are not physically in the high school.
Correct.
They will not be considered high school students, because that is I think that's a big leap. I mean, we're not gonna say we have a junior high, but the 7th and 8th graders aren't going to be sharing classroom space with the high school.
No, that's the main thing, I almost want, I wanna be careful about saying they're not high school students. I prefer to say you're Northern Cambria students, because you might make the argument technically they're high school students, but more importantly, yes, they're not gonna be sharing classroom space, or typically even faculty with the high school students. And the only ones who might be doing that is they're the ones who actually are advanced and are capable of, an 8th grade student who is capable of doing 10th grade algebra, which
Correct.
happens, and it happens a lot here. So they might be in that position, which is actually one of the benefits of the unification, is now we have that faculty expertise available. So with the exception of those cases, yes, no, they will not be doing, they don't even have common lunches, they're different lunch times, because we're careful, I use the word segregated, but we're segregating lunches so you don't have that kind of crossover.
So I understood that to be the case, I just thought we'd
Yeah.
get it out there publicly right now, so that if people.
Joy and Lisa, I mean, I really gotta commend them. I wish they were here to take the credits they deserve. They really have been working hard on this and putting their schedules together. And I think they've done a really good job of minimizing the impact on everybody. But having said that, if it's only known by the people sitting in this room, we're still not there where we need to be, because we do need to let all the,
I just feel like it's a question that will come up.
yeah, I'm sure it will.
Yep.
Sure,
Thank you.
and unfortunately, for you guys, how if you come up at the next meeting, instead of 10 people here, there's 100,
Right,
and they're demanding, so we need to get that out.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
Roll call. Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mrs. Crew.
Yes.
Mrs. Lieb.
Yes.
Mr. Basil.
Yes.
Ms. Senjo.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Be resolved, the Board of Education approves a 1-year contract for the Director of Finance at a 1% increase for the 25-26 school year. Motion by Mr. Jen Zenshaw. Second by Mr. Mike Basil. Questions or comments? Okay, roll call. I'm a no. Mrs. Crew.
No?
Mrs. Lee.
No.
Mr. Basil.
Yes.
Mrs. Zenshaw.
Yes.
And Mrs. Hoover.
Yes.
3-3, fail. Okay. Marching band volunteer, be resolved, the Board of Education reappoints Logan Keith as an unpaid band volunteer. All necessary clearances are on file. Mrs. Zenshaw made the motion. Mr. Basil made the second. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, transportation, nothing. Athletics, I'm not gonna read all that. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the following extracurricular positions for the 25-26 school year. You can see all of them, and these are all through the winter sports also, which is the first time I can ever remember that happening on an agenda, which is a good job.
Yeah, I'm happy
Motion
to
by
see
Mrs.
that.
Danielle Hoover. Second by Mr. Mike Basil. questions or comments? I just made one, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Danielle, go ahead.
I am just looking on here to see if we have Kelly Miller. I don't know if it's an oversight because Fred has retired, but we need a band front coordinator.
Now, the problem is, does Dan handle that part?
I
I
don't,
think they'll probably select and then they'll come forward. Like, I would think that
I'm not, I know that she has done it,
Yeah, she's been doing it for years, we just
Yeah.
renewed her contract.
right,
So is she just?
She's just missing from the list.
that's what I'm concerned for.
We might wanna check on that, Mr. Johnson.
I'd probably
Yeah,
recommend we
yeah.
vote on what's here, make note of that and bring it back.
Right, just so that they
Not
can-
band director, you're talking about
Yep.
color guard and stuff like that?
Correct.
Yeah, I think she's been there forever.
Yes. I just don't wanna hold up a band front.
But does Dan handle that part?
I don't know, I don't know, and I think it's just maybe falling through the cracks because of
'Cause Fred
Fred's
left.
departure, but I wanna make sure that,
I mean,
Who's the band director now?
I don't
the-
know.
both,
Both of them together?
as far as I know.
We might wanna ask, what, Jenny and, who's the other one? I don't remember her name.
I can't remember.
Maybe we'll ask Jenny Fox. Okay.
Okay.
I probably- I'll make sure to ask, okay? And if not, we'll make sure we'll retroactive if we have to. Okay, we'll have to do that, if it's band front? Is band front a paid position or no?
So I don't know.
It's in the contract, but.
But
We can get it
Well,
on
they're-
the agenda for July.
Yeah, but the problem is they're gonna have, they'll
They're-
probably
they're
start
gonna
having
start
their
their
camps. She won't be allowed to be around kids.
well, she has clearances, but she's just not.
Actually, she's allowed around kids as long as the director is present.
So she,
Yeah, that's my understanding of the law.
Yeah, as long as the director's
You
present, she just
alone.
can't be alone. So,
I mean, we can-
yeah, we'll make sure
You
we
can
get
bring a
that.
convict in as well.
Karen, let's make sure we get that on the agenda for the 14th of July.
Okay, however, who selects that person because.
The
of-
band directors.
Yeah,
Okay.
it might be a change or maybe
Alright.
she doesn't
Good
want
catch,
it
though.
anymore too.
I mean, yeah,
Okay, so-
just thinking of everybody.
Yep, good catch. Okay, we have two motions, so any other questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? By the way, well done, Dan, on that, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Okay, payment of the bill, be resolved, the payment of the bills for the month of June 2025 be approved as presented and amended received and filed. I'll make the motion for that one. And Mrs. Jen Senchak will back me up. Any questions or comments on any of the bills, guys? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, guys, we're gonna be going into an executive session here to discuss litigation, contract, students, and personnel. There is one item we will be voting on when we come back, and that is on the moving company, okay? Our solicitor has to inform us on a few things on that, so. Be it resolved, the Board of Education will enter an executive session at, let's see, 6:47 PM. I'll make that motion for that. Sure, Mrs. Norma Krug. Any questions or comments? All in favor? Anybody opposed? Thank you, guys. Not sure how long it'll take, though. Okay?
See ya.
Is that? Thanks. Dennis, how you been? Good to see you.
Partly, she's disagreeing with the process, that's not what the board adopted, is the direction from the board to go to the community.
He deserves a better process so that people won't argue with
I will go to the
it.
community through Karen on an advertisement in the paper, and whenever we get back, we get back.
And the teachers'
Is that
input
good
is
with you,
community.
Mike? Is that good with you,
Yeah, the teachers'
Danielle?
input is also,
Why don't we
That
have
way
a
we're-
meeting? Why don't
We
we
are
have a,
involving the community
why don't we
that
have a
way,
meeting?
and we are gonna be getting to the most people we can through the paper. Through an advertisement, is that okay with you?
I don't know that that's okay. How do you don't,
Is it
that,
okay with you, Jen?
The hands down selection
advertisement in the
already
Star
bid
Courier.
for Mr.
We
Well,
got
hold
Ray
on.
sitting right here who represents the Star
Also put it
Courier.
on the school website
That's
and our
fine, we'll do
socials
that.
that we, so that
right, it
it
should be a
reaches.
We'll do
campaign to
that.
ask people. It doesn't
Okay?
matter who
Ray,
it
does
ends
your,
up
does your
with.
paper reach a lot of people in Northern Cambria?
I don't have any numbers and I cannot speak.
well, the other thing too is, again, we weren't just saying the gym though, we said the new high school, we didn't even decide what all we were gonna name, I thought.
We started
That
with
was-
the gym.
Who's we?
It was brought up by
Them.
Danielle in the
Months
beginning to
ago.
name the gym
Right.
after John Frontino.
Right,
right.
and we
That's
said we
what
weren't just
started
gonna,
it.
yeah, we,
No.
And
at the
she's
last meeting, we
opposing
said
that.
we weren't gonna just do the gym, she's not opposing it.
Sounds
We
like
weren't
it.
just gonna do the gym, we said we
I'm
would
not
do the
opposing it.
hallway or the high
Do you-
school
do you
building, like there's
understand that?
multiple things we could name. To make sure that everybody that
What,
should be
my question
recognized.
is, why do we have to name anything?
Yeah,
Why
why
can't it
don't, why
just
do
be
we have
called
to name all the
something
parts
else?
of the school? I'm,
We
This
don't.
conference room's named, it's giving respect to people that have contributed to the school district. Mr. Hartley was still substitute teaching
Yeah,
when he was 80
he
something.
deserves
But
better than this
I'm just saying,
flawed
like, we
process.
talked about
So there is
potentially
no question.
recognizing people that contribute to the school district and somehow doing that. We didn't decide how we were gonna do it. We talked about maybe putting something up on the wall, bricks, or, just the point is, we didn't
Okay.
discuss as a group.
I mean, if you wanna
This is
plow
for the
this
cow
through
meeting.
before December,
However,
Yeah, let's discuss.
this is, it's all about December now.
apparently,
Well,
it
what's your,
just seems like that.
since our processes are flawed, what is your perfect process? How do you wanna go about this?
I would
Danielle?
like to engage the community, we
Okay,
could have a
how
working
do you
group,
wanna
we
do
could
that?
have meetings, I
A
mean,
week, a working group is ridiculous. How
Oh,
would you wanna
so are
go
you.
that?
so
I
are
said
you.
just have them submit proposals. if they
Okay,
want.
we're done.
Ridiculous,
It is ridiculous.
yes, you
Okay,
are.
be it resolved, the regular meeting of the Northern Cambria School Board for June 24, 2025 be adjourned at 7:23 PM. I'll make the motion
Second.
by Mr. Mike Basil. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody